We're gonna try to work that entire area to open up the mobility in the hips, the glutes, the low back, and see if that shifts some of the pain away. Hey man, Gary Walker here, and welcome back for another video. All right, I'm gonna give you a mobility video. Here's the thing, I coach several men, all between the ages of 40. Actually, the youngest guy in my group currently is 44, and all the way up to 79. All right, the one thing that all these guys have in common is typically there's a lack of mobility there. And mobility is extremely important for everybody, but especially once you start getting older. So one of the things I really wanted you to understand is if you have low back pain, if you're having hip pain, knee pain, a lot of times that is caused just because you have less mobility in those joints. Less mobility, less flexibility in the muscles. So in this video, I'm actually gonna break down a few different mobility exercises you can do, also a couple different types of stretches you can do. And here's the thing that you're probably gonna catch when you're watching this video, especially if you watch it all the way through. There's sometimes I'm referencing things I've said in a Zoom, all right, a Zoom call or Zoom session, something like that. And the reason that's in there is because I initially recorded this for my guys that I work with in my one-on-one coaching. So we do weekly Zoom sessions, so I'm referencing some of those sessions within this video. What I did is I wanted to record some of these exercises for the guys in my group just to help them out, but I decided it's gonna be a very valuable video for all of you guys, so I wanted to turn it into a YouTube video just to help you guys out as well. But that's why you're gonna notice me saying some of that stuff in the actual video. But if you have any questions about any of these exercises at the end, please don't hesitate to leave a comment, ask the question in the comment section, or reach out if you feel like you need a little bit more clarification on anything. With that said, enjoy the video, man. Okay, for the mobility, we're gonna start with some glute and hip stretches. Here's the thing, a lot of times when you think you have lower back issues, there's several things that could be happening. One, yeah, you could have a weak core. Weak abs can lead to lower back issues. A weak lower back can lead to some back pain. But most of the time what I've noticed is because people tend to sit a lot more than we used to, we're so much more sedentary, we deactivate our glutes. One thing that happens, our glutes get shut off, our hip flexors get tight, our glutes get tight, and that can lead to a lot of different issues. So a couple different things it could be. Piriformis syndrome, a piriformis muscle that shoots right there by the sciatic nerve. So sometimes you think you got sciatica. Sometimes it could be a piriformis syndrome. Sometimes it's just a sleepy butt, which is what it's called, all right? Your butt doesn't activate, your glute muscles don't activate because they're used to sitting all the time. So a lot of times just by adding some of this mobility to loosen up the glute muscles, loosen up the hip flexors, and I'm also gonna show you how to stretch the piriformis. Just doing that, and then we're gonna do some lower back stretches as well. So we're gonna try to work that entire area to open up the mobility in the hips, the glutes, the low back, and see if that shifts some of the pain away. And if that's the case, then it's gonna be a simple fix. After we do this mobility, then I'll show you a couple other thoracic mobility movements that's gonna help you with some of your shoulder lifts. If you got a tight thoracic spine, a lot of times it's going to take you out of proper alignment, which can lead to shoulder issues. So we'll show you how to do that next, all right? But the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a unilateral knee to chest, which is a glute stretch. But this is the easiest one to do first. So basically you're gonna keep your back flat, lie straight, and you're gonna get your knee and you're gonna get it as close to your chest as possible. And you're gonna pull down. You're gonna wanna hold this for about 30 seconds. Full 30 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003, okay? So you're gonna do this. You should feel the stretch right in your glutes, right back here. So you're gonna do this one for 30 seconds. You're gonna relax that leg, grab the opposite side, and same thing here. Pull for 30 seconds. You're gonna wanna do this 3 sets. So 30 seconds, 3 times a piece. Here's what you really want to focus on. Initially when you're doing this, you may be extremely tight. 30 seconds. You'll notice the second time through, it loosens up a little bit, and possibly you can pull your knees even closer to your chest, into your chest. And even if you come out beside your chest a little bit, then that's good as well. That's gonna open up your actual hips as well. So that's the goal here, all right? 30 seconds each side, you would do that. Another 30 seconds here. That already is gonna start getting your glutes looser. Get some blood flow in there, get them a little bit looser. Now we're gonna go to more of, not really advanced, but an intermediate glute stretch. This is a figure 4 glute stretch. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna take this leg and cross it over here. Your right ankle over your left knee. And then we're gonna do the opposite side here in a minute. But from this position, I want you to grab through your leg here and then around this other one, clasp your hands, and right under your knee, your hamstring here, you're just gonna pull back. Again, pull back as far as you can. Make sure you don't pull anything. Like I said, take it kind of easy initially. Nice, good, deep stretch though. Same thing here. You're gonna do 30 seconds on this side, then you're gonna relax, and then you're just gonna cross with the opposite leg. Just like this. Grab, and then another 30 seconds. All right, 30 seconds, and I want you to go ahead and do 3 sets here. 3 sets here. This is really gonna open up your glutes, and you'll feel this stretching in your hips as well. So glutes, hips, it's gonna start feeling a whole lot better. All right, so after you've done these 2, the next thing I want you to do is a bent knee iron cross. So basically all that means, hopefully you can see me here, you're gonna bring your knees up 90 degrees, iron cross, you want your hands out to your side. Then you're gonna take your knees one direction and your head the other direction. You're gonna go opposite, just like this. You'll feel this stretch right in your lower back. Again, it may be tight initially, then you're gonna go the opposite way, knees to the opposite side, head to the opposite side. Arms out to your side here, and then you're just gonna go rocking back and forth. Just like this. You're gonna feel that in your lower back. Here's the thing, if this is difficult for you, then you can just keep your heels together on the ground and do this with your, see my foot? Do this with your feet on the ground, just like this. Your left foot this way is on the ground, your right's on top, and then opposite here. Again, shifting my head the opposite direction of my knees. This is a little bit easier than the other movement with your feet off of the ground. So you can start here and then work your way up to the other. All right, so basically what we're doing, we're really opening up these glutes. So you wanna go ahead and do 3 sets of that one as well, and go 10 to 12 each side. Take all the way to right side, all the way to the left side. That's 1, all the way to the right, all the way to the left, that's 2. All right, so this is already gonna get your glutes feeling a whole lot better. All right, so now that you've done these, we're gonna sit on, I've got this bench here. You can do a regular bench, you can do a bed, you can do a chair. But now what we're gonna focus on is getting a deep stretch in the piriformis muscle. Again, it runs right behind your glute here. And a lot of times, like I said, when you think you have sciatica, it's actually just piriformis syndrome. And one other thing that you could possibly have, let me give you this as well, is an SI. It's a sacroiliac joint. So it feels like it's in your lower back, but it's actually a hip issue. So you've got one on each side. So sometimes when you have a lower right or a lower left pain when you're doing squatting or you're doing anything at all, and you think, man, my lower back's out, my back feels bad. A lot of times it has nothing to do with your back, it's that sacroiliac joint. So again, opening up the hips, opening up the glutes is going to help that joint issue as well. So if you're having issues, then I would recommend doing this mobility routine, this and the one I'm about to show you. Do this one every other day. Either before a workout, after a workout, it's going to start helping you open up that mobility and flexibility. You're gonna start feeling a lot better. If you don't have any issues now, then go ahead and do this once or twice a week, still just to prevent anything. So let's do some preventive maintenance, prevent any injuries from occurring. So just do this a couple times a week, that'll make a big difference. All right, But now we're gonna do something seated. All right, so now, like I said, you can do this seated. I've got a plyometric box. You don't need this. Like I said, you can do a bench or a chair, but basically what you wanna do is, it's the same figure 4 situation here. Couple different things I really want you to focus on. Keep your ankle over your knee, and then you can push down here to get a really good stretch as well. But when you're pushing, grab a hold of the top of your quad, the inside here. You don't want to just push on your knee. That's gonna put too much strain on your actual knee. So right up here, just right above the quad, push down, you'll feel a nice good stretch. Also, when you're pushing, I like to turn away, opposite direction, feel a good lower back stretch as well. 1001, 1002, I like to hold it for 30 seconds. When you come back to the front, here's where the piriformis stretch kicks in. Now I want your shoulders to be nice and tall, chest out, and then lean forward into this. All right, lean forward the best you can. Again, don't round your back. Keep your chest out, shoulders back nice and tall, and you're just doing a forward lean over. You'll feel the stretch back here in your glutes, and it's really gonna stretch that piriformis. All right, so again, let's go opposite side. 30 seconds there. We're gonna go here, pressing on the quad itself. Press down, turn away, 30 seconds. You're gonna go 30 seconds on this side. You'll feel a nice stretch in the outer hip, lower back. This is a really good stretch as well. After your 30 seconds here, nice straight squared shoulders, and then lean forward here again. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. You're gonna feel the opposite side, the opposite glute, opposite piriformis. All right, so that's gonna feel wonderful. After you do that, let's get these top hip flexors. So again, you can do this back leg on a wall, on a chair, on a bench. Basically, let me get you a better angle to look at. All you're gonna do here, back foot up against something, and here's what I really want you to focus on. A lot of times, I got a really good stretch here, all right? A lot of times you'll see people do this and they're bringing their shoulders all the way back. They're arching their lower back. They're thinking that's a big stretch. All right, so you actually want, keep the core tight, abs tight right here, and then push back. You'll notice I still got an upright posture and I'm pushing back. This is a huge quad stretch. All right, stretch it from the quad all the way up into the hip flexors. So this is a really good stretch. That's the main thing I want you to focus on, is staying upright and not just bending back and arching that lower back. This is really gonna open up the hips. So again, you're gonna go this side and then you're just gonna switch sides. Keep that knee pretty much right under your body and keep it in alignment with your hip. Just like this, good stretch. Now I feel that. Again, quad and hip flexor. And I like 30 seconds. So 30 seconds here, then you're gonna switch again. And do 3 sets. So this mobility routine, you don't have to do everything. So what I would recommend, if you're doing a leg day, a lower body day, anything like that, then if you're gonna do squats, you're gonna do goblet squats, you're gonna do lunges, then do this mobility routine first. Also, if you are having lower back issues and you're gonna do dumbbell deadlifts or bent over rows, then go ahead and do this mobility before that as well, this mobility routine, because it is gonna help open up everything around the lower back, the glutes, the hips, piriformis muscle, all those things. So do this routine and it's gonna make a dramatic difference. Okay, so this one here, it's called the unilateral hip flexor stretch. Unilateral meaning one side at a time. So we're going from the right for 30 seconds, left 30 seconds, and then back and forth for 3 sets. Now another one that's a really good inner hip mobility stretch is the frog stretch. All right, so what we're gonna do here, let me get this out here. Basically, all you're gonna do is both legs, you want your shins to be flat. You'll see my knees, my ankles are on the ground, and then you're gonna get your forearms flat, just like this. All right, so you will definitely feel this in your hips. Here's the thing, if you're really tight and can't do this, It's okay to bring your ankles in, your heels in closer to your body initially, but I do want you to get these in a straight line here. Also, to open up your hips more, push yourself back, hold it for a few seconds, rock forward if you need to. Push yourself back a little bit more, hold it as long as you can, rock forward if you need to. Pushing it back is gonna open up those hip sockets. So everything we're doing for this hip mobility is designed to give you mobile hips. So as an older person, guess what? Old people tend to have a lot of hip issues. So what we're trying to do is get you really mobile to keep you healthier, keep your joints healthier. And every time we're stretching and doing stuff with our hips, we're getting something called synovial fluid in the hip joints, which is lubrication. So we're lubricating the hips. We're lubricating the knees when we're trying to warm up our knees. So the joints have synovial fluid going into them as long as we're warming them up. That's gonna make the workouts a whole lot easier. All right, so the last hip stretch. So I gave you the unilateral, and then we just did the frog. So now I wanna give you a 90-90. Basically here, you got your front knee 90 and your back at 90. Here's a couple ways to do this. You actually want to stay here. You can lean forward just to give you a nice little stretch in your low back, in your hips, even your outer hips, your inner hips, all those. But another thing you can do is raise this leg up. When you get as far as you can, then you start raising this one up. Bring it, and you're gonna go to the opposite side, just like this, all right? Now this back one's in a 90, this forward's in a 90. And then again, lean forward over that front leg, nice big stretch. Come back up, and the same thing. Start bringing this one up first. Don't just do this, bringing them up together. Bring this one up first. Once you can no longer move this without moving this one, then move that one up, all right? Just like that. And you'll notice I'm using balance. I'm leaning back slightly and I'm showing you how to balance yourself to do this. The advanced version, if you are more of an advanced person when it comes to mobility and flexibility, upright posture, bring this up, not holding for balance, just like this, and boom, just like this. And the same thing, bring it up, then the other one. Once you get to where you can do that, your hips are gonna be extremely mobile, and it's gonna take a lot of tension off of certain muscle groups when you're working out, so it's gonna keep your joints a lot stronger and safer. All right, now we're gonna get into some, I told you in one of the Zoom calls, I mentioned a lot of people lack thoracic mobility. What is the thoracic? All right, thoracic is the upper spine. So if you see people that have the rounded shoulders like this, a lot of times it's from sitting and you're either looking at your phone all the time, or you're at work typing all the time, or you're driving all the time if you're a truck driver. If you're constantly in a seated position, looking down, typing, phones, all that stuff, then that tends to bring your shoulders forward. So we want to open up the thoracic spine to where your shoulders are pulled back, chest is out. That gives you that proper posture and proper alignment. The reason that's important, when you have a lack of thoracic mobility, when you're forward and you start working shoulders, you start doing things overhead, then you're doing them incorrectly. Your posture is already off, your alignment is off. So for instance, if you see me from this angle and I'm going to do, let me get down here, hopefully you can see me good. I'm gonna do a shoulder press. All right, I've got dumbbells in each hand, I'm forward and I'm pressing up. Look how forward I am. That's putting a lot of stress on my thoracic spine. Whereas if I'm opened up, proper posture, then I'm doing these, I'm going directly overhead. Overhead is a lot safer position for your shoulders. Your shoulders, your upper back, your thoracic spine, all of those things are safer. Even when you're doing your lateral raises, you're more in a safe and correct position compared to being forward and then coming out this way. There's a lot of internal rotation of the humerus, which is gonna put a lot of stress when you're doing this on your actual shoulders, all right? So that's one thing we're gonna do as well. One of the keys, or two different exercises that I'll show you, this one is called the prayer stretch. So basically all you're gonna do, You can just do a regular bench. Again, it can be a bench, it can be anything like that, anything straight. And it's the prayer stretch. So just like you're saying a prayer, I'm gonna put my knees up, or knees. So like you're saying a prayer, I'm gonna put my elbows up here, and then I'm gonna sit back, get back as far as I can, and just sink down, all right? Sink down in here. You'll feel that opening up. You'll even feel this opening up your lats. Just like that. Come up. Nice stretch down here. And allow your spine to sink in. That's what you're doing. You're opening that up, all right? You don't want to be tight. When you get here, you're sinking and allowing that back to really open up. Really sink in right there. You'll feel it really sinking in. All right, the second thing you can do is on a wall. If you don't have this, you can do this on a wall as well. So let me show you how to set it up on a wall. So on a wall, basically you're gonna do the same thing. Put your palms here, you're gonna step away, and then just allow your body to sink down and in. Nice, good stretch. Come back up to the top. Sink down and in. Like that, really focus on opening up that spine when you do this. Sink into it, allow it to really stretch. That's gonna help you, again, with proper alignment. It's gonna help with your posture for one. So it's gonna help improve your posture when you're doing overhead lifts, just naturally sitting, all right? Because again, when you're used to sitting all the time, different muscles get deactivated because they don't need to be used. They get tight. Hip flexors get tight. Like I said, glutes get weak and tight. Hip flexors get tight. So it tends to lead to a lot of low back issues. Well, the same thing for your upper back. So not only are you sitting on those glutes, but you're constantly in that forward position, which is horrible posture for your entire alignment. So it can lead to a lot of other problems because here's how our systems are. We are basically set up like a chain. So if something is off somewhere, even if you got pronated feet, you got feet that come in this way, guess what? If your feet are naturally flat, pronation is when they come in. If you have no arches whatsoever, they're coming in, and you're walking like that constantly over time, what does that do? It puts more stress on your knees. All right, so that's part of the chain. Your ankle, your knee, your hip. So if you're putting all that stress on your knees, constantly walking in when they're meant to be straight, then one of your knees is going to give out. Your hips are gonna overcompensate. Guess what that does? It eventually leads to issues with your hips. You have knee issues, hip issues, and you're wondering, man, what am I doing that's causing this problem? It could just be your feet. All right, so you may need to get some little orthotics. It can be something that's simple. All right, the last thing I will show you, it's a little bit different. It's more of a dynamic stretch. It's called the walkout inchworm. And the thing about this that I like, it works your overall muscular system. It's gonna help with some blood flow. Really gonna stretch out your hamstrings as well. And again, it's one of those that you wanna do prior to doing specific warm-ups just to get the blood flow going. It's gonna help get blood into your shoulders, into your low back, into your hamstrings, help with stretching and everything. All right, this is the inchworm. Stretch as much as you can. If you're very flexible, you'll notice you don't have to bend your knees much until you get to the ground. If you're not, then allow it to stretch, bend your knees as much as you can, and then you're just gonna walk forward into a plank position, hold that plank quickly, walk right back up. Down here, push, straight up. That's with a bent knee, which is okay. If you're very flexible, then basically coming down, touching your toes, keep your knees as straight as possible, and then just like this, walk, plank, right back up, hold. Let's do one more, show you what it looks like. Again, stretch, plank position. That's what it looks like. So I like to walk it out about 8 to 10 reps, maybe rest about 30 seconds, do 2 or 3 sets of this prior to doing some exercises. It's gonna make a big difference. Do these mobility exercises and you're gonna feel a whole lot better.